Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. In Islam, the Isra and Miraj is a transcendental event that marks a key moment in the life of the Prophet Muhammad PBUH. This nocturnal journey, which took place in the year 621, is not only a miracle, but also a source of profound teaching for believers. The Isra refers to the Prophet's nocturnal journey from Mecca to Jerusalem, while the Miraj is his ascension to heaven. This spiritual journey, beyond its supernatural dimensions, symbolizes the greatness of faith and the importance of prayer. Through this incredible journey, the Prophet received instructions for daily prayer, thus emphasizing the central role of prayer in the life of the Muslim and the unity of Islam. Before starting this video, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to stay informed of our next publications on the Islamic faith. Thank you and good video. Stay with me until the end. If you have any questions or comments along the way, feel free to leave them down below. I love hearing your feedback. Let's go. Let's explore together this exceptional journey which remains an eternal inspiration for believers. 1. Historical context. The Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, born in 570 in Mecca, is a central figure in Islam, recognized as the last of the prophets in the Islamic tradition. Coming from the Quraysh tribe, he grew up in an environment marked by polytheism and religious ignorance. At the age of 40, he received divine revelation from the Archangel Gabriel, marking the beginning of his prophetic mission. The message he preaches is that of the oneness of God, Tawhid, and moral rectitude, which attracts him both fervent followers and bitter adversaries. Before the event of Isra and Miraj, the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, was going through a period of great personal and community challenges. The persecution of Muslims in Mecca reached its peak, and difficulties increased with the death of his wife Khadija and his uncle Abu Talib, who was his protector. This period is known as the Year of Sorrow, marked by loss of support and increasing pressure from the Quraysh. Muslims, a minority and often persecuted, face an atmosphere of growing hostility. In response, the Prophet searches for potential allies among neighboring tribes, which leads him to the city of Taif. Unfortunately, his mission met with little success, and was met with hostility and violence. In this difficult context, the night journey of Isra and Miraj comes as a divine blessing and a comfort for the Prophet and his companions. It is both a validation of his mission and a source of encouragement. Isra and Miraj also bring a spiritual and cosmic dimension to the Prophet's teaching by offering him a direct vision of the celestial kingdom and establishing prayers as a fundamental pillar of Islam. This trip is thus not only a miracle, but also an act of divine support, strengthening the faith and determination of the Muslim community. The night journey, or Isra, is one of the most fascinating stages of the Isra and Miraj event. According to Islamic traditions, this journey took place at night in a mystical setting that goes beyond the limits of the material world. This journey began in Mecca, where the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, was in the Kaaba, the sacred house built by Abraham, Ibrahim, and his son Ishmael, Ismail. The Prophet is carried by a celestial creature called Buraq, described as a being the size of a donkey, but with wings on its hips and blazing speed. The journey from Mecca to Jerusalem is carried out with a speed and grandeur that defy natural laws. The climb to Buraq is characterized by dazzling light and a feeling of transcendence, which symbolizes the purity and sacredness of the journey. The nighttime journey takes the Prophet to Al-Aqsa, the sacred mosque in Jerusalem. This place, considered the third holiest site in Islam after Mecca and Medina, is central in Jewish and Christian religious history. Upon his arrival, the Prophet found the mosque illuminated and majestic. There he performs congregational prayer with all previous prophets, an act which underlines the continuity of the prophetic mission and the unity of God's messengers. On the way to Jerusalem, the Prophet meets various characters and has significant spiritual experiences. One of the most significant moments is the meeting with the Prophet Moses, Musa, and the Prophet Jesus, Isa, during collective prayer at Al-Aqsa. These meetings symbolize the harmony between the different monotheistic traditions and the recognition of the unique role of Muhammad, PBUH, as the seal of the prophets. The Prophet also meets other important figures in Islamic tradition, such as the angels Gabriel, Michael, Michael, and Israfil, Raphael. These encounters reinforce the spiritual dimension of the journey and the importance of angels as messengers and protectors in the divine plan. In Jerusalem, the Prophet is also confronted with a vision of the condition of believers and unbelievers in the afterlife. which offers him profound insight into spiritual realities and the rewards or punishments that await souls. These revelations serve to strengthen his faith and that of Muslims in the face of the trials of earthly life. The journey from Mecca to Jerusalem is thus not only a physical experience, but also a spiritual and revealing ordeal, highlighting the deepest aspects of the Islamic faith and the unique position of the Prophet Muhammad PBU in the monotheistic tradition. Third, celestial ascension Miraj. The celestial ascension or Miraj constitutes the second part of the nocturnal journey of the Prophet Muhammad PBUH, following the journey from Mecca to Jerusalem. After performing prayer with the prophets at Al-Aqsa, the Prophet undertakes the ascension to the heavens, a journey that takes him through the various celestial levels, offering insight into spiritual and divine realities. The journey begins when the Prophet is transported from the holy site of Jerusalem to heaven by the angel Gabriel. The Barak is no longer used, and the Prophet is guided directly by Gabriel through the heavens. Ascension is described as an event of immeasurable grandeur, with sensory and spiritual experiences that transcend human limitations. The different levels of heaven. During the ascension, the Prophet passes through 7 heavens, each with its own characteristics and revelations. At each level, he meets different prophets and receives meaningful teachings. 1. First heaven. The Prophet meets the Prophet Adam, A.S., the father of humanity. Adam is described as having a majestic and radiant appearance, and he greets Muhammad graciously, symbolizing the origin of prophecy and the beginning of humanity. Second heaven. Here the Prophet meets the Prophet Yahya, J.B., and the Prophet Isa, Jesus. The 2 prophets are described as being in harmony and peace, emphasizing the continuity and complementarity of previous prophetic messages. This meeting reflects the importance of Jesus in the Islamic tradition, while highlighting the connection between the prophets. Third heaven. The Prophet meets the Prophet Yusuf, J.F. Yusuf is represented as being extremely handsome and elegant, symbolizing wisdom and virtue. Her presence is a reminder of the beauty and purity that faith can bring. Fourth heaven. Here the Prophet meets the Prophet Idris, Enoch. Idris is known for his wisdom and piety, and this encounter illustrates the depth of knowledge and faith that each prophet brings. Fifth heaven. The Prophet meets the Prophet Harun, Aaron, brother of Moses. Harun is described as supportive and a model of devotion, and his meeting with Moses highlights the importance of mutual assistance and loyalty among the prophets. Sixth heaven. The Prophet meets the Prophet Musa, Moses. Moses is described as being very emotional and expressing great empathy towards Moses. Their conversations reflect the challenges and responsibilities of God's messengers. Seventh heaven. At the top of the heavens, the Prophet meets the Prophet Abraham. Ibrahim is depicted as being the highest in dignity and purity, and he stands near the Beit al-Mamur, a celestial structure comparable to the Kaaba on earth, where angels gather to pray. Teachings received during the journey. The celestial ascension is also marked by the reception of several essential teachings for believers. 1. Prayers. One of the most significant aspects of the Miraj is the prescription of the 5 daily prayers. This obligation is given directly by God to Muhammad during the ascension, emphasizing the importance of prayer as a central pillar of Islam. Initially, the number of prayers was 50, but after the supplications of the Prophet and the reductions granted by Allah, the number was fixed at 5, while retaining the reward of 50 prayers. 2. The status of the Prophet. The Miraj confirms the unique status of Muhammad as the last of the prophets and the leader of all the prophets. The vision of Prophet Ibrahim and other prophets reinforces this position, highlighting the unity and continuity of divine messages. 3. The realities of the afterlife. During the ascension, the Prophet witnesses various scenes related to rewards and punishments in the afterlife. These visions serve to encourage believers to follow the path of virtue and avoid sinful actions, highlighting the consequences of their moral choices. The celestial ascension of the Prophet Muhammad PBUH is thus a deeply spiritual and revealing experience, consolidating his prophetic mission and providing fundamental lessons for the Islamic faith. This journey strengthens the connection between heaven and earth and establishes prayer as a crucial act of devotion for every Muslim. 4. Spiritual significance. The Isra and Miraj, or the night journey and heavenly ascension of the Prophet Muhammad PBUH, hold deep spiritual significance for Muslims. This transcendental event is much more than a simple miracle. It embodies essential teachings that resonate in the faith and practice of believers. The deeper meaning of the journey for Muslims. For Muslims, the Isra and Miraj represent a divine confirmation of the prophetic mission of Muhammad, PBUH, and a validation of his status as the seal of the prophets. This journey symbolizes the direct connection between heaven and earth, and it illustrates the spiritual dimension of the Islamic faith. While traveling through the heavens, the prophet receives direct insight into divine realities and aspects of the afterlife, thereby strengthening the belief in a spiritual reality that transcends ordinary human understanding. This event also demonstrates that earthly trials and difficulties are not insurmountable when guided by faith. The night's journey comes at a time of great adversity for the prophet, emphasizing that times of crisis can be followed by divine comfort and blessing. Thus, for Muslims, Isra and Miraj is a symbol of hope and spiritual renewal, encouraging believers to persevere in their faith despite challenges. One of the most significant aspects of Isra and Miraj is the establishment of the 5 daily prayers, Salat. This commandment, received directly from God during the heavenly ascension, highlights prayer as a fundamental pillar of Islam. Prayer thus becomes the constant link between the believer and Allah, an act of devotion which structures the Muslim's day and strengthens his spirituality. The divine origin of prayers highlights their importance and sacredness. The fact that the prayers were prescribed directly by Allah gives this act a special meaning, placing it at the center of religious practice. Prayer is not only an act of worship, but also a means of purification, guidance, and connection with the divine. The 5 daily prayers provide Muslims with a regular opportunity to refocus, repent, and renew their commitment to their faith. Reflections on faith and perseverance. Isra and Miraj bring profound reflections on faith and perseverance. The night journey shows that even in the most difficult times, it is possible to find a source of comfort and divine inspiration. The Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, had this extraordinary experience after enduring times of great difficulty, illustrating that faith can bring meaningful blessings and revelations even in times of crisis. Furthermore, the heavenly ascension reminds believers of the greatness and majesty of Allah. Visions of the heavens and spiritual realities strengthen the understanding of divine nature and encourage Muslims to adopt an attitude of submission and humility before Allah. The journey thus becomes a model of perseverance and devotion, inspiring Muslims to continue to follow the precepts of their faith with constancy and sincerity. In conclusion, Isra and Miraj are events of great spiritual importance, offering lessons about faith, perseverance, and the importance of prayer. This extraordinary journey strengthens the connection between heaven and earth and reminds believers of the path of devotion and submission to Allah. 5. Testimonies and stories. After the return of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, from Isra and Miraj, the testimonies of his companions and the reactions of contemporaries reveal the profound impact of this event on the Muslim community of the time. Testimonies of the companions of the Prophet. The companions of the Prophet, direct witnesses to his experiences and revelations, played a crucial role in transmitting the details of the Isra and Miraj. One of the companions best known for these testimonies is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, who later became the first caliph after the death of the Prophet. Abu Bakr immediately believed in the veracity of the Prophet's account, affirming that he had told the truth without doubting the possibility of such a miraculous journey. His unwavering faith in the words of the Prophet earned Abu Bakr the title of as-Siddiq, the truthful one, thus reinforcing his status as a model of belief and loyalty. Other companions, such as Omar ibn al-Khattab, had more mixed reactions. Omar at first expressed doubts about the story of the night journey and heavenly ascension, finding it hard to believe that someone could travel so quickly between Mecca and Jerusalem and then ascend to the heavens in a single night. However, after further discussion and explanation from the Prophet and his other companions, he accepted the account with time, emphasizing the importance of faith and belief in the Muslim community. The reactions of contemporaries to the story of Isra and Miraj were varied. Among the skeptics were members of the Quraysh tribe, who used the story to mock the Prophet and attempt to discredit his message. The story of the nocturnal journey and celestial ascension was seen by some as a scientific and physical impossibility, thus serving as a pretext to intensify criticism and attacks against the Prophet. On the other hand, Many believers and Muslims saw this event as a divine confirmation of the Prophet's message and a sign of the greatness of the prophetic mission. For them, Isra and Miraj were a source of inspiration and reaffirmation of their faith. The event strengthened their beliefs in the truth of revelation and the promise of divine guidance. Isra and Miraj have had a deep and lasting impact on the Muslim community. First of all, the establishment of the 5 daily prayers structured the religious practice of Muslims, becoming a fundamental pillar of their faith. Prayer is now seen not only as an act of devotion, but also as a direct connection with Allah, thus strengthening the spiritual connection between the believer and the divine. Additionally, the event served to strengthen the Muslim community during a difficult time. The revelations and divine confirmations brought by Isra and Miraj gave Muslims a sense of solidarity and resilience in the face of persecution. The journey acted as comfort and encouragement, emphasizing that the challenges of earthly life were temporary and that faith could lead to spiritual and heavenly rewards. Finally, Isra and Miraj reinforced the importance of faith in the supernatural and spiritual aspects of Islam, encouraging believers to take a deeper and more holistic view of the religion. The event highlighted that the Islamic faith was not only based on earthly experiences, but also on a divine and spiritual reality that is beyond immediate human understanding. In conclusion, the testimonies of the companions, the reactions of contemporaries, and the impact on the Muslim community illustrate the central importance of Isra and Miraj in the Islamic tradition. This event not only marked a turning point in the life of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, but also had profound impacts on the practice and understanding of the Islamic faith across generations. 6. The journey in Islamic tradition, Isra and Miraj occupy a prominent place in Islamic texts, notably the Quran and Hadith, where this event is celebrated as a significant divine miracle. Celebration in Islamic texts. In the Quran, Isra and Miraj are mentioned in Surah Al-Isra 17-1, which begins with glory and purity to him who made his servant travel during the night from the sacred mosque to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, whose surroundings we blessed in order to show him some of our signs. This verse highlights the miraculous nature of the night journey and its importance in the context of the prophetic mission of Muhammad, PBUH. The journey is presented as a demonstration of divine power and an act of blessing for the Prophet. The hadiths collected by scholars like al-Bukhari and Muslim provide additional details of the journey. These stories describe the stages of the journey, the encounters with the prophets, and the revelations received. The hadiths also detail how the Prophet lived and narrated the experience, helping to strengthen the faith of Muslims and deepen their understanding of spiritual events. Teachings for today's Muslims. For contemporary Muslims, Isra and Miraj offer several important lessons. 1. Importance of prayer. The establishment of 5 daily prayers is a central teaching of Isra and Miraj. Prayer becomes an essential act of devotion that structures the daily lives of Muslims, promotes spiritual discipline, and strengthens the connection with Allah. 2. Spiritual resilience. The night journey is a symbol of perseverance in the face of difficulties. The event is often recalled to encourage believers to remain resilient and optimistic in times of crisis, remembering that times of comfort and blessing can follow trials. 3. Vision of spiritual reality. Isra and Miraj emphasize the spiritual and supernatural dimension of faith. Muslims are encouraged to cultivate a deeper understanding of divine reality and to recognize that spiritual experiences transcend material limitations. 4. Unity of messengers. Meetings with prophets during the journey reinforce the notion of unity among God's messengers. Muslims are urged to respect and honor all prophets as part of a common divine mission. In sum, Isra and Miraj are celebrated in Islamic tradition as an event of great spiritual significance, offering valuable lessons for the practice and faith of Muslims throughout the ages. Conclusion. The Isra and Miraj, the night journey, and the heavenly ascension of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, are events of deep spiritual and religious significance in Islam. This journey, described in the Quran and the Hadiths, illustrates the divine greatness and the prophetic mission of Muhammad. The establishment of the 5 daily prayers is a central teaching of this event, emphasizing the fundamental role of prayer in the life of the believer. The continuing significance of Isra and Miraj lies in its ability to inspire perseverance and deepen spiritual understanding. Reflecting on this miraculous journey, Muslims are invited to renew their commitment to faith, seek a deeper connection with the divine, and recognize the greatness of spiritual truths that transcend the material world. This journey is thus a call for personal reflection on the spiritual dimension of life and the quest for closeness with Allah.